Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Brussels and our 13th Air Transport IT Summit, hosted jointly by SITA and Airline Business. There were some great messages there, weren't they? In terms, this is not about IT. Information is king. I'm going to pick some of those up in this very brief introduction. Now, each year we draw attendees from across the world's air transport industry to this summit. Today we have over 200 in our audience from over 65 countries. Many of you arrived yesterday for our very popular Industry Insight sessions. I've heard some great feedback about them last night, and I'd like to thank all of our speakers for their very insightful contributions. There's one overriding message from our sessions. It's that our industry is even more than ever dominated by change, and that more far-reaching change is on the way as we shape the air transport industry of tomorrow. Now, our industry has been in turmoil, and that turmoil looks set fair to continue. But I believe that out of this turmoil will come transformation for the better. Our industry's dynamics show a coming together of megatrends, very powerful trends that are set, I believe, to change the face of air transport. So in my introduction, I want to highlight very briefly 4 of them. First, we'll witness huge growth in passenger numbers as air traffic doubles in the next 15 years. Second, there will be 9,000 more aircraft flying in 2020 than in 2010. Third, airlines within the so-called emerging economies will account for over half of world traffic growth by 2030. And fourth, this is absolutely certain, competition will intensify. So what does that mean for our industry? My predictions. This means more airline consolidations, more importance attached to alliances, and the morphing of at least some low-cost carriers and other airlines into hybrids. At the same time, airports will have to make major investments to cope with the vastly higher number of passengers that will be flying with us. But this is an IT summit, so when I look ahead, I see several mega IT trends adding to this mix. In my view, these revolutionary IT trends will be the prime movers in shaping tomorrow's industry. So what do I see as the top game changers? Well, one of them is our good old friend, the IT cloud. Our industry is about to discover radically new IT models. These are going to be far more efficient, flexible, faster, and indeed cost-effective than we've ever had before. I believe the cloud will spawn major innovations in the way IT is delivered very soon, in the next few years. Then there's social media. This is already a vital communication channel to and for our customers, where we can address communities that thrive on and indeed now demand real-time information. As an industry, we have to be on top of social media. Thirdly, we're now hearing more about big data. Combine that with what sometimes people think is an oxymoron, business intelligence, and our industry will have a whole range of exciting, new, innovative capabilities, impacting everything from trip planning to collaborative decision-making. Last, but in my view the most important, we have mobility. I believe we're really only at the start of the mobile revolution, as it provides ubiquitous access to applications and services. It's driving new innovative mobile channels across the whole of air transport. Mobility leads me on to what I predict is the next big thing in IT for air transport. What's this? I believe we will see great change delivered by the enterprise smartphone and tablets, using apps in the business environment. These are going to be used on the business's own corporate devices, and also on bring your own devices. This is because we've reached a tipping point on cost, thanks to the enormous consumer market demand for these devices. Smartphones and tablets in many countries are now free with your telco contract. So how is this going to change air transport? I believe smartphones and the key bit, the apps that go with them, will give us an excellent opportunity to change business processes for the better. One small example, think of the use of tablets to empower cabin crew, for example, something which many airlines are doing and which SITA is trialing now with a leading airline. In the future, we will be able to rethink very quickly the workflow around processing of all that data captured by the tablet or smartphone. Then we can really join up the airline and airport operational flows. And that will enable us to streamline processes to the great benefit of our customers. Just think about it. The combination of having a computer in your hand and always being connected to everyone via the cloud opens the door to reinvent almost all the traditional processes in our industry. So I think this is very exciting. I think there's some really big opportunities here. So with those thoughts in mind, it's time to introduce you to our speakers today. We have a great lineup of CEOs, CIOs, and IT professionals and experts to take us through the themes for the day. In our first session, we begin with a keynote by IATA's Director General and CEO, Tony Tyler. Tony spoke at a previous summit as CEO of Cathay. We're absolutely delighted, Tony, to have you here as the leader in our industry. Thank you. Following Tony, we're delighted to have Mohammed Ali Al-Bakri, Vice President of Information Technology at Saudi Arabian Airlines. He's deputizing for His Excellency Khaled Al-Mahelm, Director General of Saudi Arabian Airlines, who had to make a last-minute cancellation unavoidably. And we complete the session with Alex Cruz, Chief Executive Officer at Vueling. They're going to consider how our industry can better manage where I started, change, profitability, costs, and efficiencies. What is the promise that IT holds? And when it's right for us to work together to drive efficiencies and improvements. Second session after coffee, our session turns to the passenger. We're delighted to have with us Peter Harbison, Executive Chairman of CAPA, the Center for Aviation, Ms. Zhong Ying, Deputy Manager of IT at Beijing Capital International Airport, and Dr. Roland Krieg, Senior Executive Vice President of Information and Telecommunications and CIO at Fraport AG Frankfurt. Given the existing and emerging technologies available to us, which I've spoken about, our speaker panel will consider the potential to please passengers, delight passengers, and how IT can unleash this potential. This year, we've just one session after lunch to allow you to leave before 4 p.m. But don't miss it, because you'll get the first exclusive video highlights of the 2012 Airline IT Trends Survey results. And we have a strong lineup of industry gurus after lunch who will consider the trends and technologies that are going to shape our industry tomorrow. To throw light on these, we welcome David Bullman, Director of IT for Virgin Atlantic Airways, and Jim Peters, SITA's Chief Technology Officer and Head of SITA Lab. Joining them, we're pleased to welcome back our old friend, Henry Hartevelt, co-founder of Atmosphere Research Group and a very well-known industry analyst and commentator. Finally, we've another old friend here, Mark Pilling, Flight Global publisher and former editor of Airline Business. Mark, as in many years before, is our facilitator for the day. You will all have the opportunity to make your own points and ask questions. In fact, at Mark and my special request, we've increased our question and answer times to 25 minutes. So I really would encourage you to add to the debate, question our panelists, and get a good debate going in each session. And don't forget, there is a Twitter feed, again, on hashtag ATIS, A-T-I-S. I've already got 2 tweets up there, so look forward to seeing everybody there. and seeing your real-time comments. We've also an ongoing discussions on LinkedIn. Before I conclude, I'd like to thank our many sponsors of the IT Summit. Their contribution is always important in helping to make this event such a success. Many of them have a presence at the exhibition upstairs, and I encourage you to visit them during the breaks. So with that, let me just say I hope that you enjoy the rest of the conference, and now let me hand you over to Mark.